I'm really excited to be here with all of you to talk about how we can create better connected colleges and universities that better support our students. I've had the good fortune of working with well over 100 colleges and universities over the last 20 years. And my work with them has really been about understanding their students and then improving their experience, thinking through the spaces that students live and learn in, the services that support them, the technology systems they use, and the staff that use those systems and provide the services, and then, of course, the strategy that drives all that. And in doing so, I've been lucky enough to help more than 1 million students. I'm really excited to help all of you think about how to create better connected colleges and universities. And in that work with all those institutions, I've learned some things about how we can work better together to better support our students so that they can be retained, so that they can graduate, so they can find meaningful careers, so they can make an impact in the world. And I've learned about the role that space and services and systems and strategy play in enabling student success. And I've put that in my upcoming book, The Connected College. I'm really excited to share that with you all today. So, as we think about creating better connected colleges, I want to start with a story of silos, which I think is going to sound familiar, unfortunately familiar to many of you. So I was working years ago on a project to create a student success hub. And at the kickoff meeting, we had all the different services, all the different offices gathered together around the table. We had the math center, we had the library, we had IT, we had the tutoring center, we had the writing center, we had the writing lab. Now, did you catch that they have a writing center and a writing lab? How many people know the difference between the two? Does anybody know? I didn't know the difference either. So I asked the obvious question, what's a writing lab and how's that different from a writing center? And they said, well, the writing center is run out of the English department, and it has graduate students who work in a peer-to-peer model, helping students on their writing, crafting the thesis, improving the structure, improving the tone, the flow. And the writing lab was run out of the student support office through the provost. It also had a peer-to-peer model, was also helping students with the structure, with the thesis, with the tone, with the flow. So two basically identical services in two different buildings doing more or less the same thing. Students were confused, not just me. Instead of working better together, they were kind of working in silos, reporting to different people, using different technologies. And so it was really the job to bring them together under one roof, to work together, to use the same systems, to use the same staff. And while it may not be as obvious as that, a writing center or a writing lab on your campus, I'm guessing as you think about your institution, there are probably ways that you can work better together. There are probably some things that you're offering that are redundant, that could be combined, that could be coordinated, that could be collaborated. Because silos and separations don't support students or staff or faculty. They get in the way. And so instead of those separations, what we want to create is more connected colleges and universities. And I think if you get these things right, then you're creating 5 key connections. The first is students feeling, and staff and faculty for that matter, feeling like they belong to a community, connecting to a community, feeling like they're part of something. Because belonging is sort of the lens that we look at all our experiences through, right? If you feel like you're part of something bigger, if you feel like you're part of a mission, if you feel like you're making progress, you're part of a community, then that's going to color your experience. It's going to brighten it or darken it. So you want to have that sense of belonging. Unfortunately, only 65% of students feel a sense of belonging right now. So we have some work to do. The second kind of connection is connecting students to support, the support that they need to succeed. So it could be a writing center, it could be tutoring, it could be connecting to mentors, it could be presentations and making more effective communication and presentation, could be research, could be technology support. But the job of being a student is more complex than ever before. And we've created a rather complex support apparatus to help them. But sometimes that can be difficult to navigate. Sometimes students don't know what help is available. Sometimes they don't feel comfortable accessing it. So we want to connect them to support. We also want courses to connect to careers. And this doesn't mean we're throwing out liberal arts or everything is vocational, because quite the opposite. The skills that you learn in the liberal arts, creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, these are what every employer survey year after year ranks at the top of what people are looking for. Those are durable skills, but you want to test those skills and apply them, right? So you want students to work on real world projects in their classes. So maybe they're doing a consulting project for a community group or a company. Instead of doing a hypothetical marketing plan, you can go find a group in the community and do a plan for them, do a social media strategy. Then you're meeting real people and you're solving real problems and you're building relationships, because maybe the head of that nonprofit needs an intern this summer, or maybe they become a role model. And this is how you meet people that make career paths concrete, right? Because it's when a student meets a market researcher that their stats class comes alive, right? Because right up until that point, it's just abstract, mean, mode, median. But how am I actually going to use it? So you want courses to connect to careers. To make that happen, we need internal connections between disciplines, between departments, and we need external connections, external collaborations, where we're working with peer institutions, or we're working with community groups or companies, whether it's on experiential learning, whether it's research and innovation in an innovation district. It's fueling discoveries, it's fueling opportunity, and it's working together to make these connections. Unfortunately, a lot of our conventional wisdom in higher ed has held us back, right? We've been seeing, it's kind of about staying in your lane, don't upset the apple cart. Our strength is tradition. We need to create broad appeal. Our demographics are our destiny, right? This cliff means the end of things. So we have to create broad appeal. We see markets and missions in conflict. We struggle with this conventional wisdom, but at connected colleges, strength is really found in agility and in not demographics as destiny, but differentiation, right? Finding a strategy that helps you focus, partnering with industry on research, on experiential learning. Instead of getting spread thin, where it's all about doing more with less, you have a strategy that helps you focus so you can actually do less with more. And instead of waiting for perfect consensus before acting, you're making bold decisions. These are the kinds of connected colleges that help students succeed. I want to leave you with one final thought. 80 years ago, the precursor to the CIA, the OSS, created what was now declassified, a simple sabotage field manual. And it was basically a playbook for spies to disrupt the workings of an organization. And you could disrupt it physically by cutting off their power, but you could also disrupt it organizationally. And this playbook is full of tactics that, unfortunately, 80 years later and in higher ed, probably sound really familiar. They're things like argue over minutia and terminology, bring up past decisions that have already been made to slow progress, make all committees large, never less than 5, argue for reason, for caution, make sure you go through channels. And I think if we want to create better connected colleges and universities, it's really about flipping the script on this, right? It's keeping the big picture in mind instead of getting stuck in the weeds. It's going into a meeting as a leader, as a manager, and saying, not what do I have to stop to manage risk, but what can I say yes to make progress, even if it's big or small. And I think if we do that, if we flip the script, then we can really enable student success. we can go beyond the conventional wisdom, that it's about tradition, that it's about adding more and more, that it's about adding people in programs, that demographics are our destiny, that more is better, that it's about staying in our lane. And instead, we can create colleges and universities that draw strength from agility, that see differentiation as their strength, that instead of getting spread thin, doing more with less, they have the strategy to focus and do less with more, that they build niche communities, that they partner with industry on research and innovation and experiential learning, and they make bold decisions to help their students succeed. Thank you all very much.